This is the morning of my third day, and I'm just showing you my breakfast. I go to the little morning market, buy some tomatoes. These are Romana tomatoes, it looks like. And then I take them and put them in the sink with about 10 drops of Clorox, and make sure I've got them all purified as well as the bag that came in. And then I'll leave 3 of them here, and I'll take this bag with me as I hike and eat them on the way. And then these are dough fingers, for lack of a better term. They make them 2 at a time. And sometimes she threw this in for fun. I don't know what it is. It looks like the same thing, only not divided into half. These are deep fried, so they tend to be greasy. But considering that I'm going to be walking quite a bit in the hot sun, it should burn all that grease off easily that my body doesn't actually need. There goes my taxi ride to here. He brought me from probably about right up in there somewhere. And the only difficulty is I can't bend my knee, so I can't get as close to him as I should. So I have to sit way on the back of the bike, which if he hits good bumps can knock me off, and almost did once. But anyway, so theoretically I can just hike back from here along this road, and it goes back. It's actually a dirt path down there somewhere. But from this distance, I mean, I can see where I gotta go. Okay, just to orientate, if you look to the left where the little home guest house is, that's where I got my little motorcycle taxi. And we came down along this lower loop, hung a left up here in the upper right, and came down to this spot right here, which is where I am, standing in here somewhere at the Wang Putang Tea Farm. Now this is a very clever bit of architectural graphic. These apparently are buildings. Big teapot we saw, there's another teapot. 2 lions that I suspect are the entry to this, what's called a factory. And then a building back behind, so we'll go down and explore all this before we continue. Whether this has religious significance, I don't know. Of course, the lion's an important symbol in Buddhism. Notice the little baubles hanging off the necklace, if you will, or collar of the lion. And here we're staring directly into the lion's mouth. I could hear what I thought was some kind of little motor inside of this, but then I noticed what was causing it. Now, looking at this building, remember that third world nations tend to build something and then forget it. And it may be that this is the spout, or there was some further protrusion, I can't tell, but you'll notice some pipes up on top, and my guess is that they shot tea out, or what would be supposed to be like tea coming from a teapot, into this cauldron here. But this is a relatively new depression, so I don't really know. And there, another teapot. Care to hazard a guess as to what the structure of these chairs is? You're right, old inner tubes. I mean, old tires. Now, with all these water pipes going up inside of this decrepit teapot, you wonder what its function was, or what it was supposed to do for entertainment, if that was it. Here might have been the entry door. Oh, I see, there are peacocks in there. Oh, that's interesting. And they're finding me to be somewhat of a curious oddity. Don't want to disturb them by getting too terribly close. I wonder where these stairs go. Doesn't look like it's any place in particular. This started out nicely, but they never quite got around to completing it. But I think as tourism develops here, perhaps they will. Notice the cement detail devices. I mean, decorative devices. It's interesting up here. It is so apparently quiet in this area that the crackling of that fire sounds like explosions. Here nearby are some tea bushes. Of course, what happens is that all of these tea fields that I've seen and that there are around here, the people will harvest that and then bring it presumably here for whatever the factory will do. It's interesting to look at this rebar sticking out, anticipating further construction to my right, which is interesting. Here an overhead door spring system. It may have been put up here just to be used for getting the dimensions. Maybe they were going to fill these spaces with such doors. Probably toilets there. And seeing that car or truck parked down there, maybe somebody lives in there, although that truck looks like it hasn't been used for quite some time. And I'm guessing that one of those roads down there is the path back up. I should be going over in the direction we're looking right now, because I think it's over there that was the village that I took a left at and went to another village up in those hills somewhere. This will someday be a beautiful little fountain, whimsical, 4 different kinds of teapots, theoretically spilling their tea into those little cups. What a clever idea. You can just imagine when the tea harvest begins that these fields will be filled with the folks that live in these surrounding hill tribes. There's sprinklers down there, I just noticed. And then they'll be hauling them up on their backs, no doubt. So somewhere down this road we get to a path that goes off to our left. Here a little bit better, closer view of this terracing and of the sprinkler system. Remember, this is part of, or even the result of, the King and Queen's early effort to rid the area of opium and replace that enterprise with others, more legitimate enterprises, principally creation of tea in this area. And many areas are netted over, and I'm not sure if that's to protect fledgling tea plants or another kind of crop, or even to protect tea plants that may get too direct the sun. This used to be a signboard, I imagine, been painted over. And in this area, some anticipation of tourism, little shops, maybe a restaurant or something. Tour buses can stop here, or at least the vans. Not sure the buses come this far. And if I understood what this was, that'd be good. Over here, a kind of a rough-shod, kind of little sitting area, it appears. Theater area, maybe. And as I walked under this tree, almost a dull roar. We'll get up close and see what's causing it. Those bees, they're big babies. This looks like some kind of fruit. So I'm thinking that this total arcade of trees that I'm passing down through now on this road represents the same kind of tree and those bees, because I can still hear that hum. There's a man working his crop over there, or the crop, it's probably not his. Isn't this a beautiful sylvan view? And the temperature is absolutely perfect now. It'll get a little bit warmer, but not terribly so. Not like it will be when I get to Chiang Rai, or worse, Bangkok, at the end of the week or whatever. These are some of the fallen fruit or whatever it is that's up in that tree. I've seen a fruit that's bigger than this, but of the same kind of thing with those little spines on it. Look like spines. Don't think they're terribly prickly like a cactus. There may also be a nut inside, like a chestnut. Up there, the factory. And if that hum passes for bees that are doing the equivalent of making honey, or making honey, there must be another great production around here somewhere. These hillsides of tea plants seem so pretty in themselves, in itself, that it's worthy of videoing. I guess I just wander aimlessly on these roads working my way back up, but it's not like I don't know where I'm going to go. I thought I'd better get a close-up of these tea leaves. Now, as these tea plants grow taller and taller, and they will, the top branches, the top leaves, are number 17. They're number 1. They're the best tea that you can buy. And then it drops down to, I think, 15 and then 12. Maybe even lower grades. Here we can make out some sprouts, some new sprouts. I wonder if they trim these back each year. It kind of looks like they do if you look at like that part right there. I also wonder, when you're talking about deforestation, if after you've subtracted away from biomass the trees they cut down and the foliage they remove, do you then add in the net value, at least until harvest, of these plants? And presumably, since some hillsides are not cultivated, some areas are good and some topography is not. For example, the tea leaves appear to be on the outward or convex part of the hillside, whereas when it goes concave, like to the left there, they don't plant there. It may be because of water control, for all I know. And notice what appears to be the greater distance between the terrace plants at the bottom here and up at the top. Here you get a sense of the steepness of these hills. I bet as we look over this area here, some of the areas, like underneath that net webbing over there, it may just be a question of time before all of that is converted into tea production. But some of these areas, like this down below me here, may just be too steep, or it may be necessary, as perhaps these trees indicate, that a certain amount of strong foliage like trees and bushes is important for keeping the soil on the slopes in place. Although of course the plants do that themselves. Now here for some reason looks like there's been a substantial loss of plants. There's not the density. I wonder what their lifespan is. This little area in here may give us an idea of what this jungle land was like here before it was converted. I love the sound of water. Notice the sprinklers are above the netting, so the water spreads out and drips down. Here we can take a look inside. Either that or it's just meant to cool the air, not necessarily sprinkle the plants, or maybe it does both. So I can't tell. It doesn't look like any concerted growing in there. Unless those plants we see right there that are just the fledgling tea plants, and that's probably the case. Instead of following this road, which is already starting to go up, what I'd really rather do is, I think, go down along here and see what those terracings look like. So I'm going to see if there's some way I can get over there easily without a lot of bushwhacking. Maybe there's a path over here. Yeah, it looks like I can just work my way down through these rows of tea leaves and get to that little road and over to there and continue. I managed to slide down that part of the embankment without hurting myself. But otherwise it's pretty steep. And there aren't any handholds. You can hear a man driving his cows down through here. That's nice. As long as there's another bridge to get back across. I think I'll meander along the stream for a while so I don't disturb the fellow and his cows on the other side. Picked up a stick to carry, and there were some little tiny ants on it, and boy, those little puppies could bite. They're the herders, and you can see them in their ancient original garb. Number 13, a very popular number. I just think I could be sitting in my van in Arizona, reading a book, working on my computer. I think I'll go up this path, and I think there's a path across the top of these terraces that'll kind of give me a good view of what they're like. And I'm guessing that village up there is the village I go to then continue on up to Mae Salong. I'm using the camera just to make note that I'd swear I was listening to a sandhill crane. Yeah, terracing is kind of interesting. Look at the height on this one. Some of them have the remains of a recent crop. The one I'm walking on doesn't. They have little ledges, which probably means they keep water in. And so it's some kind of crop like rice that probably enjoys sitting in a pool of water for some time, or at least well-soaked ground. And this is the material, whatever it is. If it's a straw, they're a fairly large diameter straw, I think. I don't know what this would be. There are 3 ladies that are working on whatever this crop is. Imagine they're doing this all day long. Here's a corral that's pretty much deteriorated down. I'm sure they don't last long, considering that bamboo does deteriorate, dries out, etc. Plus, you've got those heavy rains that can do a lot of damage, I imagine. And here's some horses grazing in the silage. And I think back behind those trees and around to the left is the valley that I had hiked down into the other day. Because I think that village there, to the left of it, is where I made my mistake. Also, if I were on the correct dirt road right now instead of bushwhacking it, I'd be up there, I think, moving that way, and then back up to the village and back up to Mae Salong. These horses show almost no reaction to my presence. American horses would be at the least curious. These horses are probably like the horses from the man from Snowy River. Very tough mountain horses. You'd have to be. And not only walk through here, but to carry something on your back. Came from way up high there on the left. Little dust bath. So I started up there on the left, on top. This is interesting. It almost looks like a test area. Some place to keep the cows out to see what happens to the ground. But why have they cut all the bamboo out? Maybe because they're testing for the ground foliage. A bunch of cows. I think the man's sitting over there under the shade across that little bridge. There's a little footbridge, which hopefully will serve adequately. He thought. While that butterfly is resting, I'll take a picture of these flowers. Now these are smaller and whiter than the others that we've seen. Here's a water reservoir. That's the spot where I looked for a place to get down to the road, and then I walked down through these tea bushes, slid off the edge there to the road, and then down into the valley, into a stream bed, and across that, and then up above the trail up the side of the terraces there to the right, and then along through the terraces. Then up through there. There's another completely filled reservoir. This is the backpack she uses. Notice there's the yoke goes around her neck from the back forward, and then that strap goes over her forehead. And she probably made the whole thing. And just for the record, that's where I started. This little creature is a native, probably. She just walks the streets, probably begging for. Sunrise about 7 o'clock. Well, sunrise was earlier, of course. But going to school. Yesterday, a young mother, a Chinese mother who spoke English, in front of 7-Eleven, got on her motorbike. Her littlest child crawled up, literally on her own, from the back of the bike forward, got herself seated with her mother's help in front of her. Then the mom's older daughter got the youngest daughter in between she and the mom, and all four of them took off. And that's not at all uncommon. I've seen as many as 5 in a family on one motor scooter. This is also the weekend of the beginning of the Chinese New Year, when this town becomes really packed with people. Monks on their morning walk to get food and other kinds of stuff. There's 4 on that machine. OSHA approved, of course. And this is the market that was at the end of the hike I made up to the Chiang Rai and down again. And these shops across the street, there's probably about 7 of them, sell all the same thing. It was in one of these shops that I got that little doll for Shiloh. And here on the visor, I just noticed is where the monk's blessing marks are. Fingerprints, I think they are. So I'm the only one leaving from Mae Salong, but along the way we'll pick up more people. And I think we're going a different route than the way I came. Another beautiful morning in Mae Salong. They seem endless. This is the entrance to the museum and the Chiang Rai. there's the Chedai poking over the top. If what I think is going to happen does happen, this green Sortao that I'm in will go back to Mae Salong in a different on a different route, so I get to see a different area, which is great. There's just enough white in that haze to convince me that a good part of it is the smoke from innumerable fires. Imagine this in the rainy season when it's super lush and green. We crawl up these steep hills, but you can imagine how slow it'd be if we had our usual 8 people and all their luggage and bags and so forth. Here we probably have some more people getting ready to come in. Okay, we just stopped at the main intersection that goes from Mae Salong to a T intersection is where we're at. That goes the direction I'm facing to Chiang Rai, or the other direction to Chiang Mai. And they just took my bag out of the back here and put it up on top. Presumably we'll have more customers on the way to Chiang Rai. What I don't know is if this is going to go all the way to Chiang Rai or just to the highway that goes between Chiang Rai and Mae Sai. And if it does, then I reverse the trip I was taking and pick up a bus back to Chiang Rai. Being the color of the sortao determines what its route is, either going or coming. In other words, a different color if it's going from the color when it's coming. And I think that lady's going to be our driver, which is the first lady driver I've had. And this is the green rig that we're in, and my bag's now up on top. And this lady is still here. There's the intersection to the right to Mae Salong. This way to Chiang Rai. And I'm just guessing that my female driver is the wife of the man who was driving, because he got in a personal truck and drove off. And so I think this may be the family business. Here we've got a little Catholic church, probably part of the Hill tribe. It's nearby. She blows the horn in advance of our getting here just to let people know that we're on our way. Probably going to work somewhere in the fields. Those are probably hose sticking up. Getting ready to go to work nearby. Well, the men are just standing around for some reason. Okay, below here we've got some flooded terrace fields. We're going slowly here, as you can see from the traffic. And that looks like rice planted there. Yeah, it is. And I think we're probably going slowly because we're on a schedule rather than just a la carte, if you will. And then here's an area left fallow for whatever the reason. Corn. And I don't know what this crop is, but it's using terraces. Steep hillside looks like corn, believe it or not. I wonder what these fresh, but unused fields are for. We must be almost filled up now. You notice here's a bunch of trash all neatly bagged that will be picked up later today or so. This lady's lucky she gets to go to work on a motorcycle. I don't know where she's putting the people. I don't know if they're up on top or not, but we just keep stopping and putting more people in this thing. Another Watt back up in there and a Cheddar. Well, there's probably some kind of patrol, police inspection patrol here.